Today I want to show you the features of my Model 1200 rifle rest. The reason that we designed this, well, number one, a lot of people enjoy using just a front rest only. Second reason is a lot of competition shooters are only used to use a front rest. They're not allowed to use, like say, my Model 1000 LP, because it's not legal to have a rifle rest connecting the weapon from the front to the back of the gun. So what I want to do with the 1200, I want to point out a bunch of features on it, what it's made from or made of, and a few specs on it. But I want to first start up here, right up here with our adjusting knobs, and up front and on the bottom here we got our pad. Now these pads is actually an accessory. The pad itself is an aluminum pad. The measurement on it, okay, it measures right about 3.5 inches. Yeah, I'm trying to think, it was 3.25 inches. Now, I myself do not use them, but a competition shooter, they all seem to really enjoy these, because on the very bottom of it, it has a pressed-in O-ring. And what that basically does is it really dampens the vibration of the weapon when it's being used. So for the competition guys, this is pretty much, a must-have. From there we go to the foot here. This is a stainless steel foot that's simply pressed into the base. This here is a jammer, which when you take this 5/8 stainless steel rod, I can adjust this for all different heights of that point, and then I simply lock this into place. Now, one thing I forgot to mention on this on my foot, the taper on here is the same pitch as the taper on the point. So when that sits in there, it fits in there perfectly, so it is absolutely not loose. Okay, from there I want to go to the base. The base is steel. It's 1/2 inch steel, and it's designed to where the front, the space between the front here, center to center, I believe is right around about, it's going to be in the 12-inch area. From the front to the back, from front to back, it's going to be right around about 15.5 inches. So the base is, really solid, but the other thing is the weight. This brings the weight right around 24 pounds for the rest. So it's simply not going to move. The next thing I'm going to start off with is the stop. Now the stop does come with it. These 1-inch knurled stainless steel knobs, you loosen them, and I can slide this any position I wish for whatever gun I got in there. And here I can adjust the stop, up and down, because that's obviously going to vary from weapon to weapon. Now the stop pretty much is a must. When one is out there shooting a certain distance, whether it be 100 yards or 200, 500,000, when you're shooting at the same target all the time, you do need to be able to stop that weapon at the same position every time. The next thing I want to show you is going to be the quick release sandbag attachment. And I'm actually going to take this out of here to show you how that comes off. Because there's two little cams right here, and when they're loosened with an Allen, it only takes about 3/4 of a turn. Okay, get in there on that one. And when those are loosened, this simply slides off the base. And that, as you can see, is the two cams here that hold us on the rail. Now the neat thing about this is it allows you to have other sandbags, like say you might be using a 2-inch one or a 1-inch one or whatever. You never have to physically remove this 3-inch bag or any bag. You don't have to loosen these side plates up and take it out, because once you get your sandbag formed, you just want to simply kind of leave that alone. So it's just very quick and easy to slide that on and off. And the other thing, before I forget, when you do put it back on, or when you change it, I like to hold the windage base straight up, and that way I can look at my cams. I start it in there, and then I can slide that in there. That way I can kind of guide it in there, and then I kind of center it. I can tell by the edges of this how I want it centered, so I can get it perfectly centered. The next thing I want to go through a little bit is about the base that it's sitting on. This is aluminum. This here is UHMW. I use that because of the characteristics of it as far as not absorbing moisture and such. Here I have Acme threads, and this is what's controlling my windage mechanism. and it's spring-loaded here, so I mean it's just ultra silky smooth when I turn it. And the next thing is the bushing here has a groove in it, to where when I drop it in here and I tighten this up, that goes in between the channel there. That's going to square the base up to where it's going to be perfectly square when it's in the rest. Now the knob here, this one goes in the channel right there, and that's going into the elevation. And so when I loosen this and turn this, this raises this up and down, and by turning this, this locks that in place so it absolutely cannot move. And the other interesting thing, or the neat thing, is in between here I have a little bitty thrust little washer, a needle bearing. So when I am turning the wheel for elevation up and down, it's just silky, silky smooth. And the reason it needed a bearing there is many times is the rifle that you put on here is going to be quite heavy. So with that bearing stuff, that just makes this a silky smooth operation. But what I want to do, I want to put the sandbag back on it. And there again, I hold it up. I just align the cams, it slides right in there, and I center it. And I take my little Allen, and when one tightens this up, it takes, I mean, just very little attention. You don't ever want to over tighten it. Okay, so I'm going to put this back in there. Okay, I'm going to tighten this up here. Here we go. And now when I put it in here, I'm always going to move this and make sure that that's in between the keyway there when I go to lock it in. Okay, right there, that's in between the keyway, so that's locked in. And now when I go out to set it up, to actually use it, I want to go out there and I want to level it out. Actually, I want to turn this around here once to where you can see this. I got a little bubble levelist right here, and that's recessed down in the product. And I'm going to take my feet, and this is what's going to adjust this, and I want to get this bubble to where it's just right, you know, to where it's right there in the center. And I'm going to loosen this one here. Okay, so there I got my bullseye level pretty much set up. So once that's set up and my weapon is in there, I'm going to adjust my base here to the right elevation. If I'm shooting way out there, I might raise this up to say here, and then I lock it in. And the reason I do that is I do not like to get this inch pin, even though it's an inch pin, I do not like to get this way up high in the air. I like to keep it engaged, you know, down there. So I will simply rough that in right there, and then again I take this knob here, that's going to lock it in. And once I'm all set up, and there again I make my windage adjustment, but my elevation there is going to be done from right here. By simply raising and lowering this. This is going to tweak it and do the ultra fine adjustment right there. But anyway, I guess that's about it. Like I said, these pads are an accessory. It comes with little nylon feet that go on there. But you just give me a call, 800-611-2164, and we can talk some more about this product because it really is truly awesome.